Hello, this is John Speelman with the video version of my latest Agony column. Agony column as was, now just general column, which is number 227. And I've entitled it, let's go, we can see it's recording. I've entitled it, I had a think, and I've entitled it Triple Jump in Spring. And it's dedicated to Vasyl Ivanchuk. So this month we celebrate with joy and awe the great Vasyl Ivanchuk. He was Vasyl when I played him, but obviously once now has the Ukrainian name rather than using the Russian version. About a dozen years younger than me. I think he's born in 68 or something, or 69. I played him about, 10 times. And basically I found him unplayable. I drew about as much as I lost. I never beat him. And when I played him, I did think he was better in terms of sheer prodigious talent than either Karpov or Kasparov. It's just, of course, his nerves were nothing like as good as theirs. And therefore, he really didn't have much chance of becoming world champion. I mean, he actually got to the final one of the knockout world championships, didn't he? And he lost to, I think, Ruslan Ponomarev. And, he was very good, but his chess was fantastic. It's just that he couldn't really sustain it quite under the greatest pressure. And I've said, of course, since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, he cannot but have been deeply upset. I know he lives in Lviv. And I also know that he's into poetry and folklore and music. He's a Ukrainian patriot. I mean, all Ukrainians obviously are upset by this. And his rating had gone right down. He was still playing quite a lot. And also he streams sometimes, which I have to say is something to behold. He streams in English, or at least the streams I've seen have been in English. And they're very interesting, of course, because, watching any great player talk about chess is really interesting. And I think if you just look him up, Twitch and Ivanchuk, you'll find him. And what did I say? So his rating had gone down to 2604, which is basically an insult for such a great player. And he is only 56. I'm 68 now, and my rating is below 2500, and I'm spotting him a decade and also a bucket load of talent. But in April he just decided at some point he was just going to play chess and let the world get on with itself, I suppose. And he played 3 tournaments in a row, hence the triple jump, and he played 27 games in between, when was it? The 9th and the 26th, so 18 days inclusive. And so that was quite a lot of days. He played 2 games. He didn't lose a single one. He came second equal in Reykjavík behind Magsudlu, second equal in some Spanish Open, and then he won outright in Menorca with an enormous 8 out of 9. That's an incredible feat. He gained about 40 rating points and is now back in the top 100, somewhere around, 2644, which puts him 82nd in the May list. And the thing is, you hear of kids gaining sort of up to 100 points or something, but of course they have a much higher K factor, normally 40. The K factor, if you don't know, is what you multiply the increment by, the result by, to get your increment. So with a K factor of 40, that their rating is 4 times as volatile as an established player. So this would be equivalent to a child gaining 160 points, which hardly ever happens. They gain sort of 100, but it's an incredible feat, actually. And it's wonderful, and we'll see what he does next. I hope he can sustain it and, show what he can do, because he is wonderful. Anyway, so I chose a couple of games from this, and then I gave one of his all-time. That was my games. I played in the Florence Hill over the weekend, And yesterday in the London League, so I played 4 days in a row, which I haven't for ages. What did I do? I drew with a Slovakian SVK Slovakia, I think. And I lost. I got splattered by Tom O'Gorman, an Irish guy who has the record for 5 wins in a row in the varsity match, and is actually very good. I was impressed, though I did play an awful opening, and I drew with Shreyas Royale eventually as black, and then last night Wood Green played against Hammersmith in the London League. And last season we lost to Hammersmith, which was a very terrible thing. It was our first loss. Excuse me, I haven't got a tissue actually. For, I don't know, yonks. And this time Brian Smith, our sponsor, put out a very strong team. But we only won 4.5, 3.5. I drew with a guy called Adam Taylor. There are 2 Adam Taylors. One's an IM, about 23.60 or 70, and this guy's about 22.50, but a good player. And we drew. Anyway, and we won 4.5, 3.5, so glory be, Wood Green have won the London League again. Apparently, Brian says for the 29th time in the 143-year history. At one stage, I think it was Hampstead who were very dominant, and I don't know, other people have been. Anyway, let's have a look at these games. I've got 2 games out of the 27. I mean, you know, there are so many, but I chose, this is interesting. It shows a lot of common sense. Chucky was white, and then at the end he actually messed the ending up, and there's a very interesting draw his opponent could have made. So he does okay. Of course you can play the Nimza if you want to. I have no idea what he'd have played. Let's just see. Okay, bishop b4, and let's do a reference. They're going to be 500 million games, and let's go for name. Can I search in here, or do I just have to do white? And oh dear, can I put an I in there? Or maybe I can go Control F and put in Ivanchuk. That would help. And what does he play? Do we know? I don't know if I can make a tree at this point. It would be nice if I could, because then we could see immediately. No, I can't. I can't make a tree here. Oh God, where are we? Oh, it's not. It's going to be a pain. Okay, I don't know what he plays, but no, actually, I'm not going to change. I'm just going to put the. So he'd have done something, but instead he got after d5 he just went knight, bishop g5, and the guy took, and he went e4, bishop c5, knight f3, takes. He's not making a big fuss, and has got a very, very slight advantage, maybe. I assume b4 is asking for it. So this position, white claims that the bishop on b7 is hampered by the e-pawn, and that black's queenside is a tiny bit weak, and you can put your bishop on e3 and king on f2, and you claim to be a tiny, tiny, tiny bit better. Whether the engine agrees, I don't know. Does the engine think this is better? Probably not, actually. It probably thinks it's equal. It might think plus 0.3 or something. Yeah, it does, actually. Okay. I played some moves. And it's just pleasant for white. White's going to try to attack on the queen's side. I don't know quite what you're going to do with the c3 knight now, but it's pleasant. Nice. And also, if you're going to play 500 million games in a short period, you should play sensible chess. You shouldn't get overexcited. What did he play now? He went a4. I was thinking it might come knight b1 or something, but I suppose he still hasn't got anywhere to go. And the guy took. Obviously b4 has to be a move. And then he would go knight b1 en route to c4. And I'll play a few more moves. Bishop f6, rook c2. I'm just playing knight cb8 makes sense, yeah. Rook c, rook c. I mean, the thing is, even if you lose b2, you've got a lot of play. Does he go b3 now? There he goes knight c4. Okay, and he's got the knight on c4. So your man, he just took, which is quite sensible. Now the a6 pawn is a bit weak. It's not very pleasant at all, but this is slightly less awful. a5 given by the engine, actually. And now white's got the two bishops, which is an appreciable advantage in a position like this. And Ivanchuk just starts playing chess. He goes bishop d1, I'm not quite sure why. Plays a lot of decent moves. I don't know why he played bishop d1. I'd have thought b4, yeah, that looks reasonable. Or I thought king e3, but then maybe there's a problem then with this. So maybe rook c3, I don't know. e5, king e3, I thought. This looked reasonable. Oh, then he's got knight e6, hasn't he? Sorry. That's not so much. Okay, he went bishop there, bishop c6. I guess if e5, was he going to go check and then back or something? Or maybe if e5, he was going to go here, perhaps. Because if you go knight e6, that's quite unpleasant. I don't know. It's possible. Oh, it's going... Oh, no, actually, if e5, he was going to play something quite clever. Check here. New main line, bishop to there. Bishop to there. I see. Okay, that's quite clever, isn't it? So bishop c6. And bishop d6, bishop d7, rook takes. And he got this ending with two bishops against a bishop and knight. Doesn't have to be winning. I mean, the black has a good square for the bishop. I would have thought that maybe he should have gone bishop e2 at this moment. I don't know. Okay, because now the bishop gets this b5 square, which is sort of okay. And Ivanchuk moves his pieces around, gets on with it. You don't want to start... sorry, I was about to say something nonsensical because there's no pawn on g2 anymore. And he just advances and brings his king in, and probably he's winning by now. Yeah, the engine says so. And on they go. This is all fine. Nothing wrong with any of this. I don't know quite why he went there. h6 obviously is also a move. Good to play h6, yeah. Alright, he got his king this way. And round about here, he trying to make it completely clean, and he makes a mistake. If he just takes on g6, it says that gf5 was a good move here, so probably round about here. I don't know if you can at this moment take on... Can you take on g6 here, or is there a problem with knights? You can probably do this, actually, but then the king gets out. Sorry, king d4, excuse me, overwrite. So there we are, king d4. Could have taken, but he actually goes f6, which is a mistake. Now, the reason this is a mistake is because it happens that now if black can just give his knight up for the b pawn, then he will draw, which is a bit surprising, just happens to be the fact. So bishop, king to there, bishop back, threatening knight d5 check, and now simply knight c4 would have drawn, or indeed knight a4, doesn't matter. Knight a4 is just as good. Either is fine, and you just do this, and then you sit. And if you look at the evaluation of Stockfish, which hasn't yet worked out it's a draw, because this is a fortress, you can see it's absolutely flat, or almost entirely flat. And that's a clue that it hasn't found a way to do anything. And when you think about this, white goes and takes the A pawn, and then he brings his king in, and then he can't do anything but swap the white squared bishops. He puts his king on e7 and black plays king h8. And you can't take an f7 or go to f8 because it's stalemate. And it doesn't help putting the bishop in g7, which you might be able to do somehow. That in no way helps, so the game is in fact a draw. Rather surprising. Yeah, it's got a flat 1.59. But the guy went a5, takes here, and now, after b4, he was unable to give up the knight for the pawn. So he tried to, but he couldn't. And Chucky was able to do this and to do that, trapping the horse. And black resigned, because now if you can't give up the knight for the pawn, then it's completely lost. So rather an interesting game, very interesting ending. And Chucky did get it wrong at the end for a bit. I guess he, you imagine you've played, this was round 8 in San Vincenzo, so he's already played 17 of the 27 games at this stage, or this is the 17th. And his brain, even a man as wonderful as that, presumably his brain is a bit soggy, or rather he's somewhat on autopilot. So yeah, I'll play f6 and I'll win easily, and then you play it and you think many, many expletives, I would have thought. Just looking, I'm just wondering, when I go back here, bishop c2. I don't, oh no, you can't go bishop d1 because of knight d5 check and you lose a piece. Because if bishop d1, knight c4, you might have bishop b3 or something and be able to play that position. Take on e6, but knight d5 check. So no, you can't stop knight c4. And after knight c4, can you play king c2 here, I wonder? Is king c2 a move? King c2. Maybe that's just about, and gives you some chances. I didn't realise that. Yeah, maybe. I wonder. No, I don't think so. Here, 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 here. No. Knight d5 is probably just about, but it's, you're not. So king c2 actually would at least give some chances. After king d4, yeah, then it's just a draw. Interesting game. Right, so there were lots and lots of games I could have chosen. The one I did is just a very nice queen sacrifice. So this is round 3 in Menorca, where Ivanchuk got this enormous score, and he's just playing. He plays a Slav. So the main line goes pawn takes pawn, bishop b4 check, bishop d2, queen d4. And it's playable for black, but it's a bit dangerous. And Chucky just goes here. I think it's supposed to go cd5, ed5, e5 here. But white tries to keep control and basically loses it. So the problem here is that it's not at all difficult to get an e5, after which you've basically equalised. If you could go take some bishop c5 and get an a5 before b4, then that's what you'd do, I think. You'd like to just get a knight on c5 and pawn a5, but you probably can't do that. Let's put the engine on. So Chucky did something else. He just took and went knight e5. which is slightly not the route you want to go, but it does annoy that bishop. And knight to there. And now, interestingly, okay, they played some moves. Now, that's right, h5 was suggested. And I wondered about. But this isn't at all good for white. Okay, so they played some moves, and Chucky's just getting his pieces out. And now, I mean, it is a bit better for. I don't think this was very sensible. Probably, you really want to get your bishop out of the way. I mean, b4 seems reasonable. Yeah, bishop c7, and now queen c2 is very sensible. And they got knight f4. They got bishop f4, but you'll be able to play bishop b3, which is important, or rook d1 and defend your bishop. This should be about equal. Putting more pieces in the d file. And okay, he had this idea, queen f8, who's going to play bishop f6 and maybe claim he has plus equals on a good day, but Chucky did this, takes here. And suddenly, well, I mean, you've got these 3 pieces in the d file and black's got everything aimed at them, so it's unsurprising there's a bit of a schmozzle. He tried this. It was better to go bishop takes, pawn takes, queen a4, take here, check here, here is the best that the engine finds. I don't know if you play f5 or not. And basically it says white can fight, but I would imagine that probably the rook, bishop and knight would win in the end. But yeah, okay, knight e2 is a mistake because now you just get pinned to death. You have the great move b4, but bishop to there, takes, knight to there. So you're threatening to take and go bishop b5. For rook d1, you can take and go bishop b5, and there's always a back rank, sadly, for white. So if you move the queen or something, you end up with rook e1 mate. So he tried this. And rook c4, I mean, you're not going to miss that, is he? And this was not very difficult. He's got his bishop to a good square. He did it very well. That's nice. And here he actually resigned white. I mean, when I looked at it, I thought, I did this for my newspaper column as well, for the Observer, which I do weekly, British newspaper, and I thought, how do I explain why he resigned? And I found it a bit difficult, actually, because the lines, you know, you're just going to win, obviously, but quite how are you going to win? In principle, you don't want to let the a-pawn run. I mean, why would you? But actually, the engine gives h5, queen f3, bishop f2, a5, h4, a6, bishop d4, defending the knight. Yeah. Okay, have I got this? Yeah, maybe I've got the diagram slightly in the wrong place, haven't I? Not only, yeah, and I said, not only does black have, not only, I don't know how that, I use dictation software, it sometimes does some slightly odd things. I'm not doing it now, obviously, or that would cause complete chaos. Okay, so, I mean, there are some lines, and basically, yeah, okay, yeah, and I mean, yeah, okay, That's one line, and there was another line which I thought was a bit more plausible. Rook a2, a6, bishop d4, a7, trying to deflect him to there. That's a strong move. Though actually, I think a human being would most definitely play rook d2 check and bishop takes a7 here. Anyway, obviously it's just all lost. I mean, it just is a lost position. But it's not much fun. Maybe if instead of a7, maybe you could try king h1 here. Looks slightly better. And then what does it want to do? h4, a7, and just rook e4. And if you can't go a7, then what are you going to do? Obviously you're lost. Okay, so it's a nice game, I thought. A nice queen sacrifice. Nothing, and you know, he's just playing very, very with his hand very nicely. And I thought I'd finish by showing one of his greatest games. This is from round one in Linares 1991. I played in this tournament. I lost to Artur Yusupov that day. I checked, obviously. Had no idea. But I do remember vaguely watching this game. At least maybe a slightly false memory, because I thought it was the year I didn't play, but I came as a spectator. And yeah, this is... So he's playing Kasparov, who by then... Is Kasparov? He must be world champion at this point, mustn't he? Yeah. And, yeah, of course he is. Okay, they play some moves. h6 is pushing his luck a bit. I mean, Kasparov was obviously trying to win this game for quite a while. But, you know, he's playing all these nice active moves, and Chucky's defending himself. And somehow nothing is really happening. I don't know if this... he probably thought he had a good position, Kasparov, I'm imagining. But then as he tried to do things, somehow he just couldn't really quite make anything happen. Everything's protected, and in the long term, black is passive. And by the way, there are annotations which some were by Anand, and it says Bernsch as well. Actually, I don't know what Bernsch. I think I'll change that to me, because I cannot change the annotation because it's basically my annotations. I didn't see very much of Bernsch. I think I will change that to Speelman J. And yeah, he played this great move c5 to clear the way to attack the centre. You should have gone dc5 was the best you can do. Kasparov played this way, knight to here, and basically the b pawn is going to queen in a little while. I mean, it looks as though black might get played, doesn't it? But he just didn't. And then this fantastic move. That's a great move. Actually, the engine isn't that impressed by it, but I certainly am. You know, you can't take, presumably. If you take, then... Wait a minute, so g4. If takes, here just wins, yeah. Okay, so on we went. He's got in g4. It's just, I said, I mean, when I played Ivanchuk, I felt I was playing God, and also a capricious God who played moves I really didn't expect. Trying to get the queen in, obviously you stop him. Stop him again. Stop him again. And he resigned. A move before mate. And it's just a fantastic game. You know, you can see the world's greatest player being reduced to... Well, all four of his pieces are on the back rank now. I mean, it looks, you know, it looks like the start of a game of varied baseline chess, or chess 960, or whatever they call it now. Freestyle, doesn't it, a bit? The back rank over there. And just an extraordinary game. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to check now, of course, again that I'm recording. And glory be I am, as you can see from the little red thing at the top. And the next month I don't know. I will be back. When will we be back? On the 1st. Wait a minute. Are we May? 1st of June. Right. June the 1st, which is the birthday not only of Nigel David Short, but also of my two pussycats. I have two pussycats who I think will be the 16 or 17 on June the 1st. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you in a few weeks' time. Cheers then. Let's just go back and turn it off.